Hello, it's the Friday Talkie, viewed from or recorded at, a new angle, but it is the same room. Some of you, a lot of you, will know already. I've rearranged, well, I used to call this the study, but I guess this is now the games room. I took everything out of the games room and put it in here, and I showed a video of that yesterday. And I've been asked a few questions, and I'm going to answer a couple of those because the same kind of questions kept coming up. One of them was about my desk, because I used to have a desk in the corner just there. I'm pointing at it, you can't see where I mean, but there. And that was where I worked. And isn't this thing that I'm using now, this little table, a bit small? There's the thing. This camera never sat on the desk. It was the desk had absolutely bugger all to do with me making the Friday Talkie. It was actually in the way. And I now have a wireless keyboard and mouse sitting on this dinky little table here. It's a fold away thing. And I mean, apart from the fact that it's, what is that on the floor? Wire tie thing. Yeah, apart from it being a dinky little table anyway, I can fold it away and just put the keyboard and mouse out of the way, and I have extra floor space, which is handy. And the desk was very, very limiting. I couldn't put shelves above it. I can't drill into that wall. It's brick. I don't have a masonry drill, blah blah. It was limiting. It took a lot of space. And where the monitor sat, I'm now using this TV screen. That in itself is actually limiting. It's a 32-inch LCD HD TV. It does 1080i, which is not good. I'm running it at about 720p. And it's not as sharp as using my computer monitor, and it's fine for doing stuff like general browsing and video editing and stuff like that, but I can't do Photoshop on it. Photos look bloody awful, so I will have to be using Andrew's computer, which is in the other room, which was the games room. Part of that was to free up space so she's got a spare computer and she wants to use that up here, because up until now, when she was on her computer and I was on my computer, we were like a long way away from each other, and that's not good when you're both home. You know, you want to be doing your work and stuff on your computer, and you don't want to be half a house away from each other. Actually, I mean, if she was on hers and I was on mine with the old setup, I was sitting directly above her, but it's a long walk from here to there. Anyway, yeah. So that's what's with the desk going and the little thing. It's all about space. Another question that I got asked is dust a big problem? Do I have to do a lot of dusting? No, surprisingly. I mean, yeah, things get dust. If I leave everything in here for a month and don't dust, yeah, it will have a bit of a coating. But I don't leave it for a month. But I certainly don't have to dust more than once a fortnight, something like that. And I don't, I can't, who makes them? Those fluffy dusters on a handle, you know, you've got a little green extendable handle and you've got a fluffy thing on the end. They're perfect for dusting this kind of stuff, because it gets in all the nooks and crannies and into the keyboards and everything, and I don't know, 15 minutes in here, done. 15 minutes once a fortnight is not a big deal at all. And I mean, there isn't a lot of shelf space to dust, because the shelves are so full they don't get dust on them. So no, it's not really a big deal in here. When everything was in there, I'm pointing, yeah, the other room, the games room that I've been in, dust was more of an issue, or not so much dust as cat fur, because Kizzy, I mean, we've got lots of cats here, but she's the only cat that comes upstairs, and she all over everything. And I mean, I was having a dust thing just to get the bloody fur off them and everything in there, and it was really bloody annoying. So it's another reason why I'm actually really pleased to have moved everything in here, because yeah, that got a bit tedious and a bit annoying, and created more work than I really wanted to be bothered with. But you've got to do it. You can't let cat fur accumulate in your computer keyboards and stuff, because they'll just kill them. So yeah, I'm glad to have them all in here now. Okay, that's the preamble. That's not even what this video is meant to be about. My first main topic, really, I guess, is a response to the chap who I shouted out last week, which is TRexSpaceStation. And he asked the question, how difficult do you like your games? Because a lot of modern games are a lot easier than games used to be. And then some are brutally unfair. And I had a good think about this. And I think it comes down to what kind of game it is. Because in terms of retro arcade games, I like them rock hard. And that might be surprising given how badly I play. And I do like to play a game that you can get a fair way into. But that's a different kind of game. And I guess I'll explain. I love a game like Defender. I mean, Defender is the best example I can think of. It's brutal, absolutely kicks my ass totally. I can get to stage 3 and that's your lot. Star Wars Arcade really is pretty bloody hard. I can get to level 4 on the arcade game on a very good day. It's hard. And I like it that way. It's the challenge. It's if you do remotely well, you feel really good. But the thing with those games is they're not a game you can beat. They're not a game you can win at. And they're not a game where once you've seen the initial couple of 2 or 3 levels, you've seen all that you're going to see. It just gets harder. But you know you're not going to see anything else. So that kind of game where it's got repeating gameplay and it's all about the score, I like them. I like them to kick my ass. I must be some kind of masochist, because kicking my ass on a video game doesn't take an awful lot. But on modern games, I like them to be quite easy. I suppose it depends what you call easy. I want to be able to finish them. And probably the best example I can think of where the balance is absolutely spot on in terms of difficulty or lack of is Half-Life 2. You've got your game save, and that's probably the only reason I was ever able to complete the game. I saved a lot. I wasn't saving every 10 seconds, but as soon as I would when I knew I was approaching somewhere something was happening, I would save. Or if I was progressing to a certain point and I would get killed and it would dump me back to my last save point, I would then go back through everything I'd already done, get to just before the point that I got killed, save it, and then go in and do it again. I'm kind of tactical with saving like that. That to me, it was the absolute perfect balance of difficulty and allowing you to do tactical saving. That was a perfect game. I don't consider it an especially hard game, but it wasn't a walk in the park, I guess, not by my standards. That's how I like them. There are, I don't know what games there are that I would call really easy. I like games where you can just bimble around and not necessarily be following the objectives, but you stay alive. You can play for hours. Like Grand Theft Auto 4, even San Andreas, whatever. If you're not doing the missions and you don't do something stupid, you can bimble around for hours and hours and hours and not die. And I like that. I mean, yeah, you're not completing any objectives, but so what? It's fun to just twat about. And in that sense, they're really, really easy. You'll only find yourself in as much danger as you choose to put yourself in. And I like that a lot. But that's only true of modern games and probably sandbox games. Well, yes, it's got to be sandbox games because otherwise you couldn't really do that. Skyrim comes into that kind of thing as well. You can just wander around and prat about and everything, and unless you're stupid, you won't die. So that, I suppose, where it gets tricky and where I'm not quite sure what the answer is 16-bit era, Mega Drive, SNES. How difficult do I like them? I'm looking at them here, and I love this. I can see my games. They were all in there. I would be recording in here, and they were all in there. Now I'm sitting here. I can look, and I can tell you exactly what I've got. James Pond 2 Robocod is a good example, and in fact, I mean Sonic the Hedgehog as well. Are they hard? How hard are they? I don't know, but I think phone. Strange one. No one there. Weird number. 0393939. What the hell is that all about? Anyway, yeah, things like Sonic the Hedgehog and James Pond 2 Robocod. For me, the difficulty on them is absolutely perfect for 16-bit gaming. If you don't practice, you die. You've got to practice at them. You've got to learn the levels. You can't just go in. Well, no, I can't just go in and beat them in one sitting. Well, you know what I'm like. But if I'm playing a game for pleasure, rather than just making a video of it, I will practice. I beat Sonic the Hedgehog and James Pond back in the day. It took me a while to do it, but I did it, and I could do it again if I had the time and the inclination. They to me are spot on. They're perfect. Whereas, I'm looking at it now, Star Wars on the 32X. Love the game because it's Star Wars, though I prefer the earlier Atari Star Wars. But to me, that game is too hard. I played it quite a lot. I practiced quite a lot. I never beat it. I could not beat it. It crushed me. It didn't matter how much I learned the level, how much I practiced. Couldn't beat it. Too hard. I don't mind on a game where there is no ending, where it just goes round and round and round and score is the only thing that matters. I want it to be brutally hard, but if the game can be finished, I want to be able to finish it if I practice. And that game I practiced a lot. I even played it on 2-player. I got a friend to be the gunner while I was the pilot, and he was as good as I was, which means mediocre. And we got further, but we couldn't finish it. Yeah, that's my idea of too hard. If it's a game with an ending and you can't finish, it's too hard. I think that's my answer. So yeah, that is my response to TRexSpaceStation. I'll link to his original video down there somewhere. Well worth a watch. Moving on. Right, okay. I'm going to have to edit here. Okay, another video response. This is, I suppose, also going to fill the shout-out slot as well, in that I'm going to be talking about other channels. Why? Alright, response to a video by Kimble Chat, who, apart from mentioning me in his video, which pleased me no end, he's asked a question, who I like to watch. And he talked about the kind of channels that he likes to watch. And I thought, yes, I will do that too. But with a difference. Now, I've done videos in the past where I talk about the channels, retro gaming or gaming in general, channels that I like to watch. And there are a lot of them, and then I shout one out most weeks as well. However, shock horror, I watch some YouTube channels that are nothing to do with gaming. Yeah, honest. And I thought, well, I'm going to mention some of them. This is, I mean, these don't need a shout out. They're all quite big, actually. I'm not an elitist when it comes to YouTube. though I like to shout out the small channels and give them a helping hand if I can, send them some viewers, I like watching some of the big channels as well. I don't care if it's uncool to like the really, really popular channels. Some of them are good, and I watch some of them. Some are not so massive. I don't care how many subs they've got. If they're entertaining, I watch them, and I'm going to mention some of the ones that I watch that aren't gaming. I think I covered that already. Yeah. First one is Abandoned Scotland. Now, I'm not going to do my usual thing and swing the camera around, because I kind of think it's okay when it's gaming related stuff and I'm giving a person a hand. They won't mind if I show their stuff. That sounds wrong, doesn't it? But I think with a whopping great big channel, they might say, copyright infringement, you're showing my material on your channel, we're going to sue your ass. So I'm not going to swing the camera around. Anyway, first one is Abandoned Scotland, which is exactly what it sounds like. Videos of places in Scotland that have been abandoned. Schools, hospitals, military buildings, there's churches, all kinds of stuff is derelict, is falling apart, there's rust, there's stuff that's abandoned, and it has backing music that's very kind of ambient and relaxing and atmospheric, and I love it. It has great quality, the video quality, you know, production values are good. It is a thing. I like abandoned places. There aren't enough of them around here. And there weren't any when I was in Milton Keynes that I was aware of. I love to go to these kind of places and take photos. The best I managed was some shack. Shack in the woods out in the Peak District somewhere with a car that was also knackered. Yeah, but it's a really interesting and unusual channel because it's not something you see every day. Okay, next is, I will be putting links to all of these down there somewhere. Angry Aussie. Mr. Angry, as he calls himself on there as well. Well, what can I tell you about him? He's an Australian and he's angry. Though seemingly less angry these days than he was when I started watching him, but nevertheless he does this, well, he does Wanga Fat Wednesday, what am I not giving a fuck about today, where he talks about some news item that he's just like, I don't give a crap about that. And then Fucked Up Friday, where he talks about something that's in the news that is just completely fucked up. And he's very entertaining, he's intelligent, he's knowledgeable, and is that the same thing? Whatever. And he's very frequently angry or just having a bit of a strop about something. Very political, and I find him highly entertaining. I can't say I watch every video he makes, but I sit and look at the titles and I see, is he talking about something? Because sometimes he'll be on about something that's, if you're not in Australia, you won't know what the hell he's on about, but frequently he focuses on stuff that's going on in America, and occasionally the UK, but often it's stuff that you can relate to wherever you are, and it's interesting and entertaining, and sometimes actually informative and educational. And he's got his friend with him as well, Aidsy, who is an interesting character. There's a postman now. What are they doing? Posting letters, probably. They do that. Okay, next one. Well, you don't... Ashens. I mean, I'm not telling you about someone you haven't heard of already. It's just, well, since I'm telling you the kind of stuff that I like to watch. I watch Ashens. He's very, very funny. I really get his sense of humour. The dry wit, the deadpan thing. I love that kind of thing. I quite often do deadpan myself, and people don't always get it. Certainly on my Zelda Ocarina of Time, I was doing deadpan and got absolutely hammered because people didn't realise I was trying to be funny. I failed, but yeah, Ashen, he does deadpan so well, and just the whole reviewing tat thing is awesome. You don't need me to tell you that. I mean, he has 313,000 subscribers. You know who he is. You know you either like him or you don't. You don't need me to tell you any of that. I'm just saying it because I'm telling you what I like, and I like what he does. Next up is Blunty 3000. Nate, his name is. He's Australian. I like Australians. I can relate to where they're coming from very often. They seem to have an attitude that is not a million miles away from the English attitude. He does technical reviews, mostly. I say mostly. Sometimes he'll just go off on a rant. I love how he does both. He's very much into his cameras and stuff, but he does other things like phones and pads and stuff like that. But if you're into cameras and photography and all of that kind of thing, he's well worth watching because he reviews all kinds of stuff. And there's no bullshit, there's no... yes, he gets sent stuff to review from the companies that are producing the hardware, but it's no, here, we'll lend you this if you give us a good review. They lend him it, and he's just up front. If he likes it, he likes it. If he doesn't, he's sure as hell going to tell you about it. And his manner, he's just got this manner, this sense of humour. Very, very easy going. There's always a little, like, a wry smile or a twinkle in his eye or something, because he'll be dropping jokes in there while he's doing his reviews, and then his rants when he goes off on one are just... I'm frequently laughing my head off at him. Because I like humour mixed in with serious informative video, and he does both very well. Next up, okay, well, she's only just started being active on YouTube again. Massively popular channel is Community Channel. Natalie Tran. I like what she does. Another Australian. She's just really, really funny. She's quite clever in how she makes her videos, where there's like 2 of her or even 3 of her on screen at once, and they're all talking to each other and playing different characters and blah, blah, blah. She's funny. I like her. That's all you need to know. You probably know who she is anyway, and if you don't... Another one that's very popular. Oh, I've got cramp. Who I only started watching her fairly recently, is Emma Blackery. Very, very English, and that's why I like her. She's very funny, and really, I mean, she's on the 200,000 subscribers, so she's doing well. Here's a thing. I sometimes... watching videos on YouTube that have been made by young women, it's kind of awkward, because you could say, yeah, I watch that channel, and you'll get some people who say, well, bloody hell, you're old enough to be a dad, you dirty old man. And it isn't like that. But it's like, yeah, can you come out and say, I watched this person, because you can get that reaction. I watch Emma Blackery, though I'm old enough to be her dad, because she's really bloody funny. And she's just talking about stuff in her life. But the way she does it is very clever. I mean, she's... Well, if she isn't very intelligent, then she's just tuned into some aspect of life in England or the UK or whatever that certainly I get it and I find highly amusing and entertaining. And I don't think you get to be that good by accident. You've got to be clever. Either way, she's very funny, very entertaining, and I like watching her videos. Another young woman, American this time. I don't necessarily always care for American humour, but this Jenna Marbles, I mean, whoa, yeah, 8.5 million subscribers. So you don't need me to tell you who she is or what she does. She's just really funny, and that's all there is to that. Hilarious. Silly Sparrowness. German woman. She's a teacher. I'm not sure what she teaches actually, but anyway, she's in Germany. She keeps chickens. She does like little, sometimes does sketches where she's got different characters, but usually she's just talking about stuff, and it's a humour thing. Now, people say the Germans have no sense of humour, and I've never known if that was true or not, because I don't know many Germans. 1 or 2. and it's like finding German channels. It's all right, they're gaming channels. I watch 1 or 2 German gaming channels, and they're very interesting and informative and whatnot. But German humour video channels on YouTube where they're speaking English, this I think is the only one I know, and her sense of humour is very... I can't even actually describe it. I don't know what it is, but I like it. She's kind of... it's cheeky and intelligent, and you kind of get the feeling she makes a joke, and if you don't get it or you respond to it in a stupid way, she might slap you or look at you like a silly little boy. And maybe that's the teacher in her, I don't know, but there is something very very cool about what she does, and it makes me smile. And the last one, probably someone who doesn't need any introduction, or I don't know, he's on 300,000 subscribers, Zay Frank. Linkage down there as usual. I cannot think of another channel like this at all. There are lots of people who sit and talk to the camera about stuff, and sometimes it's intelligent, and sometimes it's funny, and sometimes it's thought-provoking, and sometimes it's even emotional. He does all of those in one, and the number of times I've watched one of his videos and I go through hysterical laughter to kind of emotionally a bit angsty to a bit of melancholy, and then it kind of always ends, or often ends on like hopeful, you know, it's like things might be fucked up but they get better sort of thing. And very often there's just an element of what the hell did I just watch, because sometimes it's just way out there. And his manner, I mean, you'd be transfixed, because he's just got these eyes, he doesn't blink. One of my favourite channels on YouTube, you know, it might not be the biggest, I don't care, he could be my favourite, certainly my favourite non-gaming. Yeah, he's something quite special and unique, and maybe not everyone gets him, but that doesn't matter, because I think the ones that do will know that there's a talent there. I think he's bloody brilliant. Okay, that's that. I'm not doing a shout out because, well, I just did all of those. They're not really shout outs, that's just me telling you what I like to watch, having watched Kimble Chat telling us what he likes to watch. So what is coming up? More of the same. Yeah, videos. There are going to be videos. They might have games on them. I don't know other than that, really. I don't know what system I'm going to be using. I mean, I very often opt for one of these. I mean, I've got my PC down there. It's actually going to be much easier for me to do MAME videos. I mean, I don't want to do MAME because I've got all this hardware and I want to demonstrate stuff on it because that's what I do. But on occasion, if I want to do MAME, it's much easier now because I've got it on the big telly instead of trying to get it off of the little computer monitor. But I often resort to sticking like a PS1 game or something in there, or I'm kind of into the Dreamcast at the moment, but I am having trouble with my Dreamcast. It keeps resetting itself. I've looked up the issues there, and it probably is the power thing. It's got a multi-pinned socket thingamajig doof, and I probably need to open it up and bend the pins, and it should stop doing that, because it does seem to be... I waggled the power lead and it stopped resetting long enough for me to do that Spirit of Speed video recently. Yeah, I want to do some Spectrum stuff, but I have problems with the Spectrum just in trying to get it to display it on a telly and then be able to record it, because it won't display on this telly, and trying to record off the cathode ray tube TVs in this place is a bloody nightmare because it looks shite. So, yeah, not sure. Trying to think actually. I could actually display it on my Game Gear because it's got the TV tuner built in, but the image quality is shite, so maybe I won't do that. I did that with a ZX81 game once. 3D Monster Maze, in fact. Yeah. That's it then. It's going to be games. It's going to be the usual. And other stuff that I might not have thought of yet. That covers it, I think. I'm going to shut up now, because I'm just sitting and soaking in the atmosphere in this. I'm just looking around because I like how it looks so much. It's this shelf here. It feels like being in a shop. An old school games shop where they had their shelves full of stuff and it was like £1.50, £2, whatever, for your tape games. Yeah. I like it. Stopping now. Thank you for watching.